Welcome everyone on Facebook and on YouTube. So happy for you guys to join me on another live stream. I don't really have a topic today, but I will be taking Feng Shui questions, or if you have questions about, if you want to get to know a little bit about me, obviously nothing too private and personal, but I'm happy to share just to, for us to get to know each other a little bit more. Happy to do that. And where the feng shui questions are concerned, I can take like generalized questions, not likely anything specific to your home. Because if you guys have followed me for any amount of time, and especially if you've done the annual training with me, or if you've done the certification course with me, you know why I can't answer these questions, because I don't have the right information to give you the correct and safety being the key word there, to feng shui your own place. So in the container of the live stream, there is some limits in terms of what I can comfortably and with integrity answer. So just keep that in mind. So don't be upset if I see your comment but I don't answer. I'm just preempting that right now. Or if you guys have questions about, spiritual topics, I have been on the spiritual path for a while now. I'm not a spiritual guru by all means, but I can definitely contribute to the conversation if you guys are interested in that as well. Oh, Eliana, that is so interesting. So Elena's got a question about the Bagua. And guess what I just did last night, Eliana? I just reshot my video on stop using the wrong feng shui Bagua. How many of you guys found me from that video? I think on Facebook that is probably the most viewed video that I've had. And on YouTube, I think about 70,000 views on that one, because everyone's searching feng shui Bagua, right? So I'm actually updating that. You guys will, if you're on my mailing list, or if you're on my social media, if you're following me on social media, then you will get access to that video once it's ready. So I actually just shot that last night, and I'm going to be editing it today or tomorrow. But Elena's asking, using the Bagua for your house, do you need to put the facing of your house as your front door, i.e. you're facing east? The placement of the Bagua should be the east position, right? No. I'm almost wondering if I should answer you right now. So I came prepared with a whiteboard. So I am assuming, Eliana, that this is the, oh, hold on, that you have been following the Bagua, and I do the air quotes because it's I'll explain a little bit more. Correct me if I'm wrong, Elena. The one that you're talking about is the one that has the career corner in the north, I think the health corner in the east, the children corner in the west, the fame and fortune or fame and recognition corner in the south, and so on and so forth. Is that the one that you're following? Yeah. So classical feng shui, we don't follow, how do I say this? We don't follow the Bagua, so to speak. You don't take the octagon, okay? So you don't take this, and then you have the trigrams and everything. You don't take this whole thing and just plop it on your layout. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, wealth based on that Bagua. So let's say this is the southeast, this is the southwest, right? They would say southwest is the relationship corner, southeast is I don't know which one you're talking about, but I'm assuming it's this one because this is the most common one, right? Everyone, based on that fast food feng shui Bagua, says the money corner is in the southeast. That's not the one that is real feng shui. The 9 squares. Yeah, very, very similar. The 9 squares basically goes like this, right? Yeah. So, if your house is facing east, now there's many different schools of Feng Shui. The main ones, one of the more mainstream ones, is Flying Star Feng Shui. So if you know that your house is facing east, you actually need to take a compass reading, because the east facing on the compass is 45 degrees. Okay? So, which is why people say, Safrina, my house is facing east. What do I need to do? For one, which east are you? Okay? So this is east. I hope you guys can see, right? This is the middle. There's actually 45 degrees here. Okay? Between all the east, so there's east 1, east 2, east 3. The whole east is 45 degrees. And each of these smaller pieces is 15 degrees. 15 degrees, 15 degrees. Okay. So how you feng shui is based on, are you east 1, east 2, or east 3 plus period. What is the period of your home? That is Flying Star Feng Shui. So once you know the facing and the period of your home, then you plot the flying stars and you do the feng shui based on that. So everyone's homes will have different requirement. Just because your house is facing east and your neighbor's house is facing east, if you guys have different layouts, then you have different placements as well. So for one, wait for me to, even in the Bagua video that I'm reshooting, it's obviously, it's not something that you can take and run and like feng shui your own place. But at the very least, it stops you from using the wrong feng shui Bagua. So I know it's kind of like a non-answer. I'm sorry, but that's kind of how it's done. Okay. Yeah, the time you move in, exactly. Okay. Oh, okay, interesting. So Terry is asking, when using the Bagua map, okay, if you have side entrance, would the locations differ because the door is located on a different side from the front entrance? I'm not gonna talk about the Bagua because I think for those of you guys, if I'm new to you and you haven't done any annual trainings or courses with me, you will know that not just me, my lineage, my grandmasters, my grandmasters, we don't use the Bagua the way the Western world thinks about the Bagua. So I'm not going to touch that. But if this is your house, okay, so this is your facing, okay, would the locations differ because the door is located on the different side? So let's say this house is facing east, right? The energy would be different depending on where the door is. Okay, because here, so let's say the main door is more in the east, this main door is more in the southwest, this main door is more in the southeast, or even if this door is in the southwest, maybe it opens this way. There's so many different layers. You have to see where's the location of your door in relation to the whole layout, and then also what is the direction that the door is facing. So all those, it would differ. The energy would be different. That's why even, like I said just before, houses with the same facing, if you have a different layout, even if you have a completely similar layout except for the front door, already the experiences for both households will already be different because the energy that's coming in from the front door is already different. Okay, so that's the layers of real feng shui. The unfortunate part, and I think that's the reason why classical feng shui is not as big as fast food feng shui, is because it's not simple. It's many different layers. But if you have a side entrance, so let's say if you so Terry, your question was about side entrance. So if your front door doesn't have good energy, but your side door actually does, then use the side door. I've been known to ask my clients to use the back door. If the back door is good, either permanently, or if the energy to the back door is good, maybe annually, then they can do that. Okay. All right. Okay. Christina's asking, campers, if you are staying in a trailer camper for a longer period, what is your take on taking the facing of the camper? I moved mine a few times and felt a difference. Yeah, I know you can't use permanent energy, but I'm wondering if the monthly energy plays a part, for sure. For something that moves around, or if you guys travel a lot for work, I guess not so much for COVID. But let's say, so for camper, for instance, going back to Christina's question, it's hard unless it's a camper that you're just going to park and not going to move for a while, right? So I guess there's pros and cons. If you want to follow, you can definitely follow the monthly changes there, Christina. So then you can move the camper to face certain directions, right? So for instance, this, remind me, this month, oh, my brain is fried. So let's say this month, the West is good for most people. Not for everyone, but for most people. And let's say your camper door happens, you can actually switch it so that it's in the, move the camper around so that it's more in the West corner, then do that. Sorry, I'm just getting messages from my business coach. Let me just kind of mute that. Okay. Yeah, but definitely you can follow annual and you can follow monthly as well. But the annual and the monthly won't be based on the permanent energy, Christina, if that makes any difference, if that makes any sense. Okay. So like a general annual energy and a general monthly energy. Okay. Okay, I'm reading this other comment here. Let me try to understand you there, Leonardo. How to do the 3 harmony in tapping the good chi to one's dwelling. How to measure the chi mouth outside with the reference point. Is the facing direction of the building or the main door of the house? If I were to give a percentage, Leonardo, 80% of the time the facing is the main door. And if that's the case, the main door will be the chi mouth. We were talking about the chi mouth. There's a few different layers of chi mouth as well. Where's my eraser? Okay, here. Okay, so let's make it simple. Let's make it simple. This is the house. Okay, and if the front door is here and this happens to be the facing as well, then this would be the chi mouth that's coming in. Another layer of chi mouth, which is and like, let's say if you have your rooms, my students who took the certification course, your bedroom or your office, let's say if this is your office, has a chi mouth as well, which is the door to your room. Externally, so let's say same thing. Okay, this is the facing. I don't know, I think it's really bright, sorry. Okay, the other chi mouth here in North America, there aren't a lot of homes that have gates. But if you have a gate, and let's say the gate opens this way, this is the chi mouth that's another level of chi mouth. Or if you are in or if you are, let's say you're in an intersection. Okay, so let me try a different color now. Okay, so your house has an intersection, for instance. Let's say it goes like that. Okay, if you guys can see, this is the street. your house has a street on the side and another street. This is more advanced feng shui, obviously. Then the intersection of the two streets is a chi mouth. And that would feed into the energy that comes through the gate if you have a gate, or that would determine the energy that comes into the front door. The same thing if you have the meeting of two rivers as well. That's like advanced level, and obviously it's going to be hard to, and that is more applicable if you're building a house, but even then it's really hard to get everything lined up perfectly. So Leonardo, when it comes to how to measure the chi mouth outside, I'm assuming you're talking about external features that's not in the house. That would be the gate and the street, or if you happen to have rivers, then that would be your reference point. Yeah, so you have to put the compass at your front door and see where your gate, basically the middle of your gate or the middle of that cross traffic, and then that would determine the energy that comes into your house. Okay. The period so how to determine the period of your home? In my lineage, which is the lineage of Grandmaster Tan Yang Wu, we calculate the period of the home based on the date you move in, not the construction. Okay. What is the best remedy? Oh, okay. Here. What is the best remedy for the north corner? I need to change my current job. Can you place a water fountain? Do not place a water fountain without being trained yourself or getting a properly trained consultant. Do yourself a favor, do not put a water feature as a DIY feng shui, because water is very powerful both ways. It can be very powerful positively or very powerful negatively. I still remember one time, I forgot which YouTube video I had up there, and one of the comment was like, "Oh my God, Safrina, I wish I knew about the fish tank." So what happens was he put a huge fish tank, and 2 weeks later her wife lost her job. And then it was really big. I think he said you need like 4 to 6 men to like carry it. So he didn't want to get rid of it, even though I told him, I'm like, you really have to. And then I think he lost his job. So you think the money will the water fountain will activate money? Yes, but only if done properly. Okay. So if you want to change your job, if you only follow, let's say, the annual flying star, Somia, if you follow just the annual flying star, then you can activate the south, or what I mean by activate, you just send out your resumes from there, from the south or the north or the west. This is just looking at the annual energy. I still don't know the energy, the permanent energy for your home. So you can kind of experiment. Okay, so this month I'm gonna send my resume out from the south and see what happens. If the result is not good, then it likely means that your permanent energy combined with the annual energy is still not very supportive. Then you can move to the north or move to the west. You kind of experiment at this point, because I don't know what your permanent energy is. Okay. Connie's asking, is it possible to feng shui a single room condo, separate bath and utility room and patio? Absolutely. You can feng shui just a room. If you're just renting one room and you have like housemates or whatever, and you know the kitchen and the living room are like common areas, or let's say your family doesn't believe in feng shui and they're like, we don't want to see any feng shui stuff in this house, so you can only feng shui your little room. you can still do it. In fact, that's how I did it. Almost 18 years ago. Actually, next month is my 18th wedding anniversary with my husband. Actually, no. So when I feng shuied my little basement room, that was almost 20 years ago. So I guess I should say 18 and a half. Yeah. Anyway, I only feng shuied my room, and then I met my husband. I feng shuied for a relationship, that one. Okay, so it's definitely doable. Sandra, oh, I have a beautiful view to the sea in front of my entrance door, but there's an electric cable in the middle, very old and loose. How to remedy this is I can't change. Obviously, you can't change the cable. Then you need to find a way to block it from your front door. It's not going to be, maybe put up a tall gate or a high hedge, not a tree. Don't put a tree right in front of your door, but you can plant a taller hedge. I personally prefer something that's 6 foot and up, or a wall. Put a gate up. It's not a cheap solution, and it's also, not a permanent solution, but something is better than nothing. Okay. Oh, Lisa, can you be an effective feng shui consultant from a distance using only floor plans and photos? What are your thoughts on distance feng shui? I've actually done distance feng shui for actually more than a decade now. And in all honesty, my business is doing really well, even during COVID, is because I'm not dependent on going into a client's house. Now, there's pros and cons from a client's perspective, okay? So the pro is, for me, a long distance consultation is more cost effective because that saves me time from traveling to your home and all that. But the downside of it is the compass reading. You have to be the one to do it because I can't go to your house, right? Then whatever calculation that the consultant needs is based on the compass reading that you give them. So if you don't have a good compass, which is why I usually don't recommend the phone compass, or if there's magnetic interference and then the compass reading is off, and I use that wrong, or you and the feng shui consultant use that wrong compass reading to do all our feng shui calculations, and then we do our feng shui recommendations based on that. That's the downside, is that if your compass reading is wrong, then the whole recommendation is wrong. With that being said, just because someone is just because they couldn't go on site doesn't necessarily mean they can get it right as well. I've also had, clients who've tried many other consultants and they get either the period wrong or they get the facing wrong. Because most schools think the front door is always the facing. In our school, that's not always the case. And so the client gets really bad results. And then they try to figure out, okay, what did that consultant do wrong to try to fix things, right? So it's only effective if we get the right information from the client. And it's also only effective if the consultant themselves is properly trained. So what we normally do, me and my associates, is we ask for the home address. At the very least, we also look at the surrounding areas, right? The external landform and stuff like that. We look at that, and based on that, we will advise clients which part of the house or the building to take the compass reading from. Again, it's not always where the front door is, right? But then that next step of taking the compass reading, the onus is on the client to get it right. So that's the thing. So when I have people book long distance consultations, I used to do this in every conversation, but I think most people who come to us now have followed me for a while. They kind of know the perspective. I usually say, well, the caveat with the long distance consult is we need the right compass reading from you. Otherwise, everything will be wrong. Okay. Hope that helps. Diana, you guys are coming up with great questions today. I'm loving it. In an irregular shaped lot, if I build main house in rectangle shape and separate the garage, will it be a good solution? So remember when I said I'm totally fine with that, right? So there's no such thing as perfect feng shui. No such thing. So there's good, there's better, and there's best, right? So for your situation, Diana, right, or your question, the best would be a square or a rectangular lot, and then you put a square or a rectangular house. That would be the best case scenario. But if you have an irregular shaped lot and you put a rectangle shape there, that's the better one, right? Or the good is, some, at least if you have to miss some corners, then at least it's the negative corners that you're missing, right? So there's at least still a few things that you can play around with. So yeah, it will be it. I definitely recommend that. Okay. Okay, feng shui wise, what is a beam? Any light, including lamps? I'm just trying to figure out what light fixtures are good and which ones are not. Always had that doubt. So light fixtures are not beams. Beams are usually really big and long and heavy. So if it's an older house, for instance, especially like the Tudor era, the Tudor era homes where they use, like you see a lot of those exposed beams. Those are usually weight bearing beams, right? And yeah, so those are beams. And then in the modern setting would be, the bulkheads, right? Where, so there's a corner jutting out from the ceiling because they have to put the vents or the whatever wiring and hide it in there, or HVAC, for instance. And, the industrial look, they would have beams as well. So those are like vertical beams, but there's horizontal beams, but there's vertical beams as well, right? And some vertical beams actually hold up the whole structure, right? And usually they're in the center of the house or in the corners of the building. The ones in the corners aren't as bad, but if you have a beam in the center of the layout, that is actually a big structural issue. And so beams are, you definitely want to look at where you place your beams, because in a bedroom, for instance, it will limit where one should sleep under. You should preferably not sleep under a bulkhead or a beam. You don't want a stove under a beam. You don't want your front door under a beam, because the energy is heavy. It's oppressive. But light fixtures are fine. They're light, usually one person can carry that light. I don't think it's too big of an issue. The only structural thing with lamps is that you don't want something that is pointy. So it's like small poison arrows, right? Some modern light fixtures, they look great, but they're like little knives pointing at you. I remember when I did a consult one time, and the client was interior designer or decorator. She was interior designer. And she just furnished the place. So she just bought this beautiful light fixture. I think she paid $2,000 for it. but I told her not to use it because it has all these spikes on it. So it was kind of hard to recommend her to, you know, get rid of that very nice but very bad feng shui lamp. So Jackie, hopefully that it's not something that you need to lose sleep over. Just look at the structure of it, the design. Okay. Oh my gosh, Scarlett Johansson. I thought, what? Scarlett Johansson is watching my live stream? Silly me. Only because yesterday I was talking about Marvel. Anyway, Scarlett Johansson, sorry. My house is tucked into mountains on 3 sides, and its front door is facing a lake. Do these natural structures change the facing direction? Yes and no. It's very case by case. It depends on, like I just went to Montreal last month. That was the first time I actually traveled outside of the province. It was in and out. So the house the house is facing the address street, but the distance between the house and so this is the house. Okay. The front door is here. If you guys can see, do I need to go further back? I don't know. Anyway, so this is the street. But the same distance from the house and the street is also a huge river. And this river, it actually feeds into the St. Lawrence, is it St. Lawrence River? And into the ocean. So that's, and it's very, and the flow is very quick. So because of that, the facing of that house is actually the back door. The back side of the house is actually the facing. For you, with having the mountains on 3 sides and then the lake, you have to see other stuff. Like, do you have an address street? Do you have other features that can be considered a chi mouth, like what we mentioned earlier, right? And the lake, how yang is that lake? How far is that lake? There's many different. So even if it's visible, just because the mountain and the lake is visible doesn't mean that it impacts your facing. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. It really, I mean, if you want to engage with a feng shui consultant, they really should look at the actual house and then help you determine the facing for that. Okay. It will, now the lake and the mountain, it will impact the energy, especially if it's visible. I'm assuming it's visible from where you are, right? That's why you're mentioning it. So in Flying Star Feng Shui, there's Mountain Star and Water Star. So where your house is, okay, so this is your house. And then let's say you have mountain here, okay? And then you have river here, right? So the mountain, if it's visible, will activate and then if you guys Google like Flying Star Feng Shui chart, okay? And you'll see numbers here. Let's say A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, all over the place. Okay? So A, I don't know if you can see, but A is mountain star, B is water star, okay? So where you see the mountain formation will activate the mountain stars. It will activate the energy of all the A's of this direction. because you have the mountain there. And because you have the lake there, then the lake will also activate the water star, which is your B, depending on what directions they are. So it may or may not determine your facing, but it will determine which mountain stars and which water stars are activated. A lot of these things, unfortunately, I can only really properly cover in a certification course. We do have one coming up in February. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to sell my salon property at the price I want. What is needed? It has a poison arrow at the main door. Try to remedy the poison arrow. What is the poison arrow? And also the price you want is, so the thing about real estate, when people call me and they say, Safrina, my house has been on the market for a while, I can't sell it. So my question would be, is the price that you want a fair price? Every seller wants a lot of money for their home or their property, and every buyer wants to lowball, right? So from a neutral perspective, let's say from your real estate agent, do they agree that your pricing is fair? Just because so feng shui is one thing, but being realist, or not realistic, but looking at reality is another thing. I remember when I was still apprenticing with my direct master, I was following her around watching her doing consults. One was, I think it was a house that they bought the house, they tore the house down, they rebuilt, and it was a beautiful house. I think they were asking 2.2 million or something like that. Big, beautiful house, right? But they didn't design the house based on feng shui. So there's some issues in that house that was blocking the sale. That's one. Okay, that's the feng shui perspective. But in the real estate perspective, the moment I went to that street, I'm like, all these other houses, all the neighbors are like maybe $500,000 homes, not $1 million homes. Now, if you, as the buyer, would you want to spend 2.2 million to be on a street of $500,000 homes? Some people probably don't mind, but some people want to be, and I know this is ego, but that's just how buyers work, right? They want, like, why do people buy in Beverly Hills, for instance? Because all the other homes are beautiful, are affluent and stuff like that. Not to say $500,000 is not affluent. It's still a lot of money, but still compared to the $2.2 million home. So it's like, you can look at the sale from a feng shui perspective, but you should also ask yourself, as the seller, if there's other reasons why it's not being purchased. Okay. So when I have clients tell me that their house can't sell, I always ask them, is it a fair price? If you're asking a neutral party, not you, because we have a sentimental value to our home. That's why we always think, oh, my house is worth $10 million. You're offending me with your $2 million offer or something like that, right? So just look at that. But if you want, so you definitely need to remedy the poison arrow. And then if possible, you also want to activate the money corners and also remedy the negative money areas. So work with the classically trained, Linda, or is this the Linda who took my course? Sorry. You guys are not always using your full name, so I'm trying to figure this out. But yeah, so poison arrow at the main door is definitely an issue. So you should look into that. Depending on what it is, I don't know if you answered me at the bottom. Let me do a quick. Linda, no, you didn't tell me what the poison arrow is. Yeah. Okay. All right. Beverly, I want to redo my master bathroom to create a wet area. I'm intrigued by the freestanding Japanese soaking tubs. I have to say I don't know too much about that. However, I heard that freestanding tubs were bad feng shui. No, no, not an issue. Any kind of tub is, whether it's freestanding or connected to a wall or whatever, that's not an issue. Oh, okay. Tulin. Fine, I'll answer this one. Oh, it's a long one. I have to go like this for you to see my face. I have enrolled in your Feng Shui 2022, which we haven't started officially all the training. But after watching your video on how to deal with renos in 2021, I realized that we have activated the southeast section of our home by renovating. Moved in 4 months ago. Well, it wasn't a reno, it was a moving of the central heating boiler from another place of the balcony, which falls to the southeast. Tiles were broken, earth digging, placing pipes, so unfortunately I think we have activated it. I did not know any better, but we hadn't moved in yet. The unit was empty. Do you think we have activated the 5 yellow? Very likely. Even if you haven't moved in yet, you still owe it, right? I mean, own it. So now the thing is, since moving in, have you seen, well, the southeast hasn't been that great the past few months. But if you can't do the feng shui part, do what I call above and beyond feng shui. Depending on what your religious or spiritual background is, you can always ask higher power to help you protect your home, right? Whether you believe in angelic, working with the angels, working with God, working with ancestors, there's that way of kind of appeasing the negative energy that's activated by renovation. It's earth digging. It's not so much renovation, but it's like digging into ground, right? In manifesting code, we do, like every month, I do a monthly update where you can use our remedies to appease or to negate or minimize the energy that's kicked up from at the no reno directions, but that's a separate thing, right? In feng shui, so now moving forward, when we do the feng shui 2022 training, which starts next month, September 18th, I believe, is the first training. Then you will learn how to plan your renovations, where you can do your work, where you need to hold off if you can. I mean, if it's an emergency work, you have to do it, right? If it's a burst pipe or whatever, you can't wait till next year to do it. So you do your best. And then after that, I believe in the power of prayer. It's not actually a very passive thing, contrary to, what some people might believe. Oh, praying, like, it's, they turn their heads away when they say that. But I do believe in the power of above and beyond feng shui. Okay. Oh, Jenny, good to see you. Salt cures, can we place them any time of the year? Absolutely. Do not wait to place your salt cures. If you need it, you put it. And if it needs replacing, you put it. Oh, Sandra, great question. If we buy something used, like a piece of furniture, how can we clean it so we are sure to remove old energies from people who owned it before? This is not so much feng shui, but it is kind of, energy-based, spiritual-based, especially if it's an antique. There's a couple of ways you can smudge it. meaning you know, take a bundle of sage, or you can use incense. I really love sandalwood incense. There's a reason why, you know, Buddhist temples use sandalwood. It's very, you know, there's protective and healing properties there. Oops. You can use that, or you can wipe it down with water, and you put a little bit of sea salt in there. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of you guys are asking for remedies. My quick answer is salt cure. You can Google that. That one you can Google, safely Google, is to put a salt cure there. Okay. Info on using my services remotely, you can email me, Safrina at Feng Shui. Oh, actually, that inbox is very full. You can do info at fengshuiandprosper.com. Info at fengshuiandprosper.com. Okay. Do you have recommendations on purchasing a compass? Great question. Do I have my compass here, or is it in my bag? Yeah. Okay. I don't have it here, but I do prefer a compass that has a straight edge. Because in our school, we actually, so let's say this is the front, this is the door or the wall, if the wall is the facing. The way I'm trained by my grandmaster, we actually put the compass right against the door or the wall. We don't, unless it's a metal door, or unless like the other side of the wall has a lot of metal, for instance, that can like pull the compass needle, then maybe we go a few steps away and take the compass reading. But I do like the ones that have the straight edge. Okay. Because some compasses are round, right? But some compasses have that straight edge. Sorry, I don't have my compass. It's in my bag at the front door. So that would be the one that I recommend. And they don't have to be expensive. You know, $15 to $30. That's absolutely fine. What do you recommend me to do if my bed is in front of the closet door? Closet door, it's not an issue. Not an issue at all. If it's in front of the door, then you at the very which is not the best position, but if you can't move it, then at the very least you close the door when you're sleeping. Okay. What kind of roof is recommended? Is flat roof good feng shui? I'm not going to do the feng shui route for this one, because a flat roof might not work where you are, right? If you have, like for instance, if you get a lot of snow or if you get a lot of rain, the flat roof is going to be an issue for you. So roof wise, go for what is more logical for your location in the world, right? Yeah, like over here, if you have a flat roof and we get like how many inches of snow every year, that snow is after a few years, that snow is just going to be, the load of the snow is so heavy, that's just going to ruin the house. Yeah. About light fixtures, how about crystal light fixtures? Should we be careful on where to put them? Only if you don't want to activate the earth element. So if you have a number 5 there or a number 7 there, I would prefer not to use crystals, because crystal is earth element. So if you have a 7 or a 5, again, we're talking about flying star feng shui here, then putting a crystal light fixture, especially if it's a big one. If it's just like a couple of little crystal balls, I'm not going to sweat it. But if it's a crystal chandelier, let's say, and it's heavy and it's big, and when you turn it on, it's bright, then I would not do that. Okay. Ah, good one. Okay. Main entrance to my property, which is the gate, is on the north. But the entrance to the house itself is southeast, almost south. So when you look from the gate, the entrance to the house is basically behind the house. I guess it's not the best not being able to see the house entrance from the gate. Very true. So do you get delivery people getting a little confused? Like, where's the front of the house? Then the energy will be confused as well. Is opening the gate on the other side the only solution, or there's something else I could do? Without looking at the actual like floor plan and stuff, I would actually open the door closer to the gate instead of opening another gate. I guess it depends on how the traffic flows. How do you guys walk? How do visitors walk, right? Feng Shui is all well and good, you guys, but if it doesn't make sense, and that's the thing. Some of the Feng Shui homes just look really weird. And then that gives Feng Shui a really bad name because people laugh and say, oh my gosh, look at this Feng Shui house, but it just looks so weird. So I would suggest opening a door at the back of the house that's closer to the gate. But if that's the case, then you can choose where to open. Hopefully you can choose where to open that back door. Hopefully you have an auspicious back door. Okay. Oh, Christina, what is the biggest problem for people living in houseboats? The same thing as Christina's asking about. So they're mobile homes, right? Even though some houseboats, I guess people just park it there and they live there. But technically, it's a mobile home. And also, Christina, you took the course, right? So we know the compass reading. So because this one is even worse. Houseboat is even trickier than the camper van, because the houseboat might shift, right? This is the boat. It might shift like this based on how the water is moving it, right? So how do you feng shui that? It's hard. Okay. Ceiling fans and floor fans. It's hard with ceiling fans because they do cool down a room, and it's fine as long as you're not under it, right? If you're sitting under it for a little bit, that's fine, but you shouldn't be sleeping under it. And then floor standing fans, you can do it anywhere. But if you guys, but we actually use fans, especially metal fans, as an activator. So then just, so instead of a water feature, for instance, you guys can use a fan. Because the water element itself is the one that you need to be careful of, right? So the fan, if you know where your auspicious energies are, either your permanent energy or your annual energy, then you can use a fan to activate that. I personally love, in fact, the bladeless fan. Especially if it's in a room that needs to be cooled off, but cannot take too much yang activity. I mean, when you see the fan blades going, it's very yang, right? So it will activate the positive and the negative energy. Whatever energy is there, the fan will activate that. So even though the bladeless fan still pushes the air, it still moves the chi, at least you don't see the blade going. So it's less of an activator. So, but the thing is, those bladeless fans, they're not cheap, right? I only have one in my room, in my house. It's like, I don't know, $400 or something like that. Um, but it's a good one because, you know, especially for parents with young kids, then you don't worry about them sticking their finger in it. Yeah. Chelsea, yay! So excited for your, I don't call it a course, but it is an annual event. Because lately there's been some confusion. Course, people think it's like a certification course type of level, which it isn't. But it's definitely a really good one. And I'm very, very proud of this annual event. But yay, so glad, so glad. I think it's your first year then, Chelsea. Your name is a little new for me. Um, okay. Sarcastic cat. How do you figure out which direction a bedroom is facing? There's no facing for a bedroom. The bed has a facing, but not the bedroom. So the facing of the bed, I'm so glad I have this little chart. But I know my light is bouncing off of my whiteboard. So you guys may need to squint a little bit. So this is the bedroom. Whoops. And this is the door, let's say. I'm trying to figure out a good angle where you guys can, okay, maybe like this. And let's say the bed is like this, okay? Let's say this is north, south, east, west. And you're sleeping like this. So the bedroom itself, sarcastic cat, doesn't have a facing. But the facing of the bed is the headboard. So you put the compass against the headboard, okay? So let's say, so you have the compass, you put it against here. So the middle of, okay? And then whatever direction this compass is showing going here, so it would be facing, looking west. So then this bed is facing west. Okay? Contrary to popular belief, some of you guys have been misled thinking that the direction that you're sleeping is where the head is pointing. No. It's actually where your feet is pointing. So this pair of legs is pointing west when this person is lying down. So the bed is facing west. In advanced Feng Shui, I actually tilt my client's bed to 5 degrees. So west has 45 degrees. In advanced Feng Shui, we tilt it to 5 degrees of the 45 degrees of west to match up, preferably with their astrology, and if possible, to match up with the house. That's when Feng Shui gets very interesting. I activated my peach blossom luck corner 3 weeks ago and nothing has happened. 3 weeks ago. Everyone has a different timeline. Now, the thing about law of attraction is the more, okay, how do I say this? You're clear that you want to attract a relationship. But if your energy in attracting the relationship is not the most positive, then even the Feng Shui is not going to be very powerful for you. So if, and the thing about relationship, and even activating, manifesting anything, manifesting money, manifesting health, or whatever, we're humans, right? It's very easy to fall into, for instance, desperation mode. And even Feng Shui aside, if we have that desperation mode, it's actually very unappealing. It's a turnoff. People can sense that. And I shared this, I think, with those in Manifesting Code. But when I was 15, my older sister, my older sister got pregnant. So, and she was still in university at that time. And so when she came back to Malaysia to have her baby, my brother-in-law who was in Canada at that time, well, still, but at that time she was in Malaysia with us and the family, and he came back to finish his studies, right, to Canada. And so he would call and he'd say, oh my gosh, like lately I've been having like guys' night out and girls are approaching me. And I remember my older sister would say, well, that's because you're not desperate anymore. And she laughed. But in law of attraction, that actually makes a lot of sense, right? So activate the peach blossom luck and let go of the result. If you guys follow Abraham Hicks, or if you guys don't, you might want to follow Abraham Hicks. If anyone is familiar with him, maybe put it in the comment there. Or Abraham Hicks, they have a book called, what's the title? Something about releasing. But basically, the whole idea is, if you want to manifest something, in the end, you actually have to release and let God, release and let universe to do the rest. So the fact that you think 3 weeks is a long time to wait tells me that there is a deadline or a time limit that you're imposing on manifesting your highest and best love. And energetically, that's kind of aligning with desperation and frustration. And that kind of energy actually repels the manifestation, if that makes any sense. Okay. So those of you guys who want to change your career, do it from a sense of, when you're sending out your resume, do it from a sense of empowerment. Okay, now I'm choosing the jobs that I want. Okay, I am now in control of where I want the next phase of my career to be. Instead of sending out the resumes like, oh my God, and I know it's hard. I know it's really hard not to fall into this kind of energy, but it's like, I got to get that job. I really got to get that job. I don't know how to pay my bills next month. But in law of attraction, if you're thinking that, then you're vibrating on the negative space. And it's very hard to manifest anything positive in your life if you're vibrating from a negative thought or feeling space. So, you guys, wanting to sell your house, right? You're getting frustrated that it's just sitting on the market, and maybe you get people coming in to see the property, but you're not getting any offers. The best thing anyone wants to do to manifest anything they want or desire is actually to let go and relax. I know it sounds very counterintuitive. It really does. And our ego mind struggles with that. How do I achieve what I desire? By actually letting go, by actually relaxing and just letting the universe or letting God help me co-create that. Right? It's not a very easy energetic dance to get involved in, but that really is how you manifest. Okay. The best thing I can do to build my business is actually to have fun. Like I tell my single friends, if you want to attract the love of your life, have fun. Don't concentrate on just one person. Just go out. Not even just go out with men, or people of the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever it is that you're attracted to, right? Whatever floats your boat. But just go out with friends, or even just go out by yourself. Reconnect with yourself. Then you align with the energy of you being more attractive. Attractiveness is actually not a physical thing. Attractiveness is an energy thing. People will be attracted to you based on the energy that you exude, not what brand you're wearing, contrary to popular belief, right? I know I'm off on a tangent, but I used to live in a part of Toronto that's very affluent, right? On Bay Street. So you know, in the weekends is when you see the Maseratis, the Lamborghinis, everything. It's like it's a regular thing in the neighborhood. And you would see ladies with their Hermes bags and their whatever $5,000 haircut and whatever, but the energy is not attractive. You can sense that they're not really happy. They're not smiling. They look great, but they're not smiling. So the energy for me is actually very repellent, right? It repels. So think about that. What kind of energy are you putting out there? Above and beyond what package you project into the world. Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out this question here. My entire home is being remodeled due to a house fire. I have read that having floor planks move west to east is bad and north to south is best. I have no idea what that is based on. In all honesty, I have not heard that. Is purple okay as accent color through the house? I do not know, because the colors that is needed in the house or in the room really should be based on the period and the facing of the home. Okay. Wow, we're past the hour. So let me just take one or two more. What if my office and bedroom are the same room? I have my bed placed so that I can see the door when in it. I have my desk placed so my bed is to the, so my back is to the bed and the door is on the right. Where the fact that the office and the bedroom is in the same room is absolutely fine. Again, contrary to popular belief, right? I mean, my office is in a different room, but if I'm a workaholic, okay, the idea is that fast food feng shui says it's not good to have your office and your bedroom in the same room, because then you keep thinking about work. But if you're a workaholic like me, my office can be outside of the house, but I can still go to bed thinking about my business. It's not a feng shui thing. It's a characteristic. Okay. So having those two in the same room is not a feng shui issue. But where you're looking, where you're sitting and facing, is not as simple as just what's called the, what do they call it? The power position? What does fast food feng shui call it? The commanding position, the command position. It's not as simple as that. Yeah. Oh, this is a quick one. What if something like a clean cotton swab or a bug gets in the salt cure? Does it have to be trashed? You can trash it if it's gross to you, but I would just keep it. Yeah, and just replace the salt cure as it crystallizes. Charlene says, ask and it is given. They actually, so this is one of the books by Abraham Hicks, and an amazing book. They have tons of YouTube videos as well. They've got others. I don't remember the one. I'm pretty sure there's a release in the title. I can't think of it right now. It was probably 10 or so years ago when I read that one. Soko, I have been following you for a while and would love to join any of your events or courses, but my English is very basic. Who here thinks Soko is doing perfectly well, getting her message across? I think you're completely fine. At least join us in the annual event. At the very least, get your house ready for next year. So, talking about that. I know some of you guys are going to say, oh, of course she's going to talk about, you know, asking people to register to Feng Shui 2022 because she wants to make money off of my registration. Fine. I have bills to pay. I have kids, kids to feed. But those of you who know Flying Star Feng Shui will know that next year is going to be a very interesting year. Very likely. That's my forecast. Hopefully it won't, but I'm actually hoping my forecast won't come true, because that would mean a lot of people would actually be at a disadvantage next year if they are not prepared. So at the very least, energetically, I would love as many of you guys to be prepared energetically for what's coming next year. So if you haven't joined me in the annual event, I mean, those of you who have already done it, feel free to comment below. You know, the difference between, even the difference in your Feng Shui practice before you started my annual training and after you started my annual training, or even in the results that you guys are seeing before you started taking my annual training and the results that you're seeing after you started doing the annual training. You know, so Soko, don't let your English get in the way. I think your English is absolutely fine. As long as you can understand me, that's, you know, you're good to go, I think. But really, if, you know, last year, what happened last year, although I had no idea it would be to the level that it did in terms of COVID, I knew last year was going to be a year where a lot of people are going to get sick. And those who did my annual training for last year were prepared. They knew what to do, right? So, yeah. So join us, Soko, if you feel connected to my content. If not, that's totally okay. I bless and let you go. Okay, so Codex or Demi, right? Is that your name? So then do above and beyond Feng Shui. If you've already done the Peach Blossom Luck, then you do the above and beyond Feng Shui. I actually have a video. If you want to check out my older video on YouTube, Demi, I have one on, I think, the 7 blockages to attracting relationships or something like that. Look that up. Okay. Oh no, did it say birthday month again, Holly? I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's not my birthday month. But yes, I will. I hope you guys like this live stream. I will try to do it once a month. We'll see. Okay. Nuggets to help us start. Yay. Yes, Melinda says I've done and great results. Oh, Kim, I don't know. Release an unwanted addiction? I don't think so. Although, to be honest, I've been kind of out of the loop in terms of Esther and Abraham, so I'm not sure. Maybe they released a new book and I'm not in the loop. Yeah, Sylvia saying, so anyone who is not yet in my Feng Shui 2022, you can register at fengshui2022.com. Very simple link. Okay. Yeah, Sylvia says, I've been joining Safrina's annual since 2019, and I'm always looking forward to join every year. Sylvia is amazing. She's a fast action taker. Yeah, annual class is legit. Is this Mary Ella? I think you registered to my certification course in February, right? I don't want to assume, but I think the name is kind of similar. Yeah. Yeah, it connected so many dots. Thank you for that. I'm actually going to take a screenshot of that. Yeah. It's connecting the dots. That's hard to do on your own, I have to say. Not just in Feng Shui, but in many things as well. And that's part of the reason why I pay, every year I invest in a business coach. Because they have the experience, they have the wisdom, they've been in business way longer than I have. I'm going to have them connect the dots for me so that my learning curve is not going to be as steep, right? So, Okay, that's you. Yay. All right. Wow. 1 hour, 15 minutes later, and you guys are still hanging strong. This is amazing. We have 68 people live still. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for spending part of your, what day is it today? Thursday with me. And I think it's Friday morning for some of you guys. And so, great questions. I love, 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 love the questions that you guys have here. And I'll see you guys in the next ones. I've got some fun on-site Feng Shui tours, so to speak, or examples that I have in the pipeline for you guys. Just waiting for it to be the right time to release it out into the world. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. If I am new to you and you love classical Feng Shui, meaning real Feng Shui that gives you real results, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, because I will be giving new videos every Thursday, and make sure you don't miss out on that.